Hey guys, welcome to Friday. Oh, I am so glad that it's Friday. It has been a long week. Today is Friday, May the 20th. I'm excited to have you guys here with me. If you don't know, I'm Shakita Taylor, and I am on this journey this month to really challenge you guys to dig in deep when it comes to your mental health and your mindset. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but you don't have to stop doing these and stop paying attention to your mental health once the month is over. This should be an ongoing thing that you're doing all the time and being very aware of. And so the last couple of weeks, we've had several different topics that we've talked about. We talked about how to stop complaining. We talked about the cycle of blaming other people. And then today, what we're going to talk about is what I've titled the F bomb. But I'm not talking about the four-letter cuss word. I'm talking about the whole concept of forgiveness and what that looks like, how it makes you feel, all the real about like moving forward and how harboring different things and not releasing the BS keeps your mental health. It keeps you stressed out and bitter and full with anxiety and all the things. Okay. So, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned when it comes to just the whole theory of forgiveness, and both through my personal life, through lots of therapy, through research, through all the things, one thing that I've learned is that forgiveness does not require reconciliation of relationship. And I'm going to say that again because I think that that is a very powerful concept. And as I'm talking throughout this whole time today, I want that to be in the back of your head, and for you to run that through if that's true for you. If you agree with that statement, let me know in the comments. If you don't agree with that statement, let me know in the comments and let's talk about it. So, here's why I have that statement and why I've come there. You can forgive someone and let it go, and then decide that pursuing any level of relationship with them is not healthy for you. It's not something that you need to continue on. That doesn't mean that you haven't forgiven that person. That means that you've decided that reconciliation is not something that's good for you. So let's pause there and let's talk about what forgiveness looks like, why it's so hard, why it's just like you be out here in these streets and you like, oh yeah, let's forgive everybody, but then you don't, and then sometimes you're petty. But when it comes to forgiving someone, you can Google forgiveness and how to do it, and you're gonna get just as many different answers as you are. If you are spiritually based or Christian based, you'll get one answer. If you're not, if you have a different religion, you'll get another answer. But today, regardless of what religion you are, what background you are, where you're from, the concept of forgiving that we're talking about is letting that shit go. Like when someone does something to you, hurts you, instead of you wanting and to have revenge against them, having a process where you can process your emotions, be angry, get over it, move through it, and then release that wrong in your head. Okay. So, one of the biggest the biggest things for me that was is I had to forgive my ex for lots of different things, and it was not easy. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like some days when stuff happens, I have to remind myself that I forgave him because it's not a one time thing. It's not if someone hurts you or someone does something to you, you have to walk through your process of number one, acknowledging that pain and that hurt and really processing those emotions and feelings. You have to feel it, whether it is anger, whether it is sadness, depression, whatever the feelings are from that wrong, from that hurt, you just got to lean into that and allow yourself to really process that emotions. Sometimes, especially when it comes to losing relationships, and in this context, we talk a lot about losing a marriage and divorce. When that happens, you have to take time to grieve the relationship, process how you're feeling about it. Maybe you're not sad. Maybe this is something that needed to happen and was a long time coming. But just leaning into and processing your feelings, honoring how you feel about that before you move on to the next step. After you have processed what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and really just got in touch with yourself, then you have to start processing, okay, what am I going to do with this? Are there any safeguards that I need to put in place to keep me mentally, spiritually focused on me and not focused on that other person? It is very natural human tendency to want revenge or to want that person to suffer so that they know how you feel. It is human. Anybody that says, "Oh no, I never have those thoughts," I will question them because I believe that it's a very human response that when someone hurts you, hurts your feelings, hurts your children, destroys a relationship, that's a natural thing to do is to be like, how can I get back at them? How can I make them feel what I have felt? And I think it's human. And if we acknowledge that it doesn't make you a bad person to feel that way, that it makes you a whole human being, then we can move forward from that. I think a lot of times that we're taught, oh, don't be angry, don't be mad, just zen it out. But that's a very unrealistic expectation, is that when someone pisses you off, it's hard to just be like, I'm going to be zen. I'm not going to think about revenge and slitting your tires. Um, but it's what we do with that energy that matters. So when you have that kind of, oh, my knee jerk reaction is to slit your tires, you take a minute and breathe and start thinking about how you can process that emotion, whether it's anger, sadness, or whatever, how you can process that healthfully in the best way to do so. You with me? All right. So, and here is the process of doing that is that a lot of times I was taught growing up, I grew up in the church, left my parents. I'm still very much part of the church. I identify as a Christian woman, but I always heard forgive and forget. And that is not really how my brain worked because like I had a checklist in my head of everything you did to me. And I was keeping that checklist in my head just in case I needed to use it against you one day. I know I'm not proud, but I'm being honest. And so the whole concept of forgiving and forgetting for me was not jiving because I was like, okay, but if I forget it, then you do it again to me, but I don't even know if I can forget it. So it just did not jive well for me. So what instead did work very well for me is learning how to forgive and let go of the hurt and the pain and process that out. And then deciding if I needed to also let go of that relationship or if that relationship could survive the pain or survive the offense. And then once I made that decision as to whether this relationship should be reconciled, whether we can go forward, then it's the process of forgetting. I'm never going to forget how it felt. I'm never going to forget the pain. I think that it's important for you to remember some of those lessons so that you can make better decisions in the future. But the thing that I can do, and the thing that I am encouraging you guys to do, is to stop holding it against that person. So if I decide that I'm going to be in relationship with you, or I decide that I can't reconcile with you, that we need to go our separate ways, you don't exist in my world anymore, have a nice life, then if I see you somewhere with somebody, my first thought is not to bring up what you've done to me. It's not to think about all the bad things that you've ever done to me and how you're probably doing it to somebody else too, and then going off and trying to destroy whatever you're creating. So for me, the forgetting part is not actually forgetting what has happened and having some form of amnesia. It is really the process of deciding to no longer hold it against you. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, y'all, this is easy. Like, yeah, I forgave everybody who ever did anything against me. No, it is not that easy. It's a process, and it's something that doesn't just happen once. So, after I was separated and divorced, I did slowly begin to forgive all the things that I felt like were offenses to me, all the things. And this is not a process that happened with him. This is a process that happened with me and therapists, happened with me and talking to friends. And as I was going through the process of each and every offense, I literally wrote them down on note cards. And so I would encourage you to do the same. Boo, I had a whole lot of note cards. But on each note card, I was able to write one offense, one card. And I went through everything that came to mind. And this wasn't just a one day thing. I did it over a couple of weeks. Is wrote down on each note card each thing that was hurtful, each thing that I wanted to forgive. After I finished this process, like I said, it took me a couple of weeks to do because I had a lot, like a whole decade worth of stuff to write down. Um, I then put all the cards on the floor in the living room, all of them. And slowly I went through, picked up the note card, read the thing that was on the note card, and then said, I release this. I forgive this. Um, and then turn the card over. Nothing magical happened after I was done with these cards. I was still pissed and hurt. But this is what I did next. After I went through each card and released and said, I forgive this, I did it again. And then I did it again. And then I did it again. And after about the third or fourth time, I start asking myself questions like, is this worth holding on? Like, holding on to this, what is it doing to me? How is it hindering me? How is keeping all the bitterness and hurt preventing me from showing up for my kids? Preventing me from showing up as my most authentic self. I only have so much room in this body, and all the bitterness and anger and hurt was taking up too much room. So I had to let that shit go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go. I had to let it go so that I could make room for the joy, the happiness, the expression of who I am and who I wanted to be and how I wanted to show up in this world. And so slowly, one day at a time, as I just started out just saying the words and then actually start putting actions behind the words. So, what do I mean by actions behind the words? Whenever there is something in the environment or some person who would trigger one of those hurts or offenses, I would literally say to myself, we have released this, Shakita. I'm not going to get upset with this. I'm not going to let it hurt me because we have released this. And that action, which it sounds silly, especially if you're not a person who talks to yourself, it's powerful because it wasn't just something that I was saying in my head, it was something that I literally vocalized out loud. And by doing that, it was a way to be like, you know what? You have released this. You have moved forward. You don't have room for this in your life anymore. And one by one, each of those things I was able to release. Was it easy? No. Was it necessary? Hell yes. Would I be where I am in the position that I am now, in the mental space that I am now without it? No. Because what I was learning is that even once I released all the things, what I would learn is once I got into another relationship, certain things that my new partner would say or do would trigger things. And I would be like in my feelings, upset and angry about something, but it had nothing to do with this new person. It had to do with unresolved issues that I was still harboring, that I really needed to dig deep in releasing. And so, what if I was not careful? What I would have ended up doing is bleeding all over my new partner, and he ain't do nothing. So instead of bleeding on him, I said, okay, I have more unresolved issues. I have other things that I need to dig deep in, and really reminding myself each time that there's a trigger, each time that there was something that rubbed up against an old wound, is really reminding myself, Shakita, you've released this. There's no need for you to go back and pick it up again because it is gone, it is finished, you have released it. And it really is a mindset shift. Your mind is so powerful. Like you can do what you put your mind to. And a lot of people are like, no, you can't. No, you can't. Yes, you can. Because what you focus on expands. And what that means is when you're focused on releasing stuff, when you're focused on healing, when you're focused on living your best life and not worrying about what anybody else is doing, you don't even see and you don't have time for bitterness and pettiness and trying to get revenge on somebody and making someone suffer. You don't have time for it because your focus is so crystal clear. It's so right there that everything else is like, oh, that's what's happening over there. That's what's happening over there. And one of the number one things, like once you've committed to this journey and you've decided that's what I'm going to do, I'm going to go get me some note cards. I'm going to write down the offenses. I'm going to go through each of those and release and forgive. And then I'm going to do it again and again until I've really worked through why I feel the way I feel and how I'm ready to let it go. Once you do that, you have to really, really be careful of what people you have around you. Okay. Because some of us have friends who all they want to do is bring up the past. Or if it's not bring up the past, they want to start you on a conversation of bashing this person or what about this person or this person ain't this. Um, Steer clear of those people. Give them a chance. When someone does that, say, hey, look, I'm not about that. That's not what I'm trying to do right now. I don't want to hear about that situation. And if the person continues to keep trying to push you back in that unhealed bitterness that wants revenge and gossip and those things, then you might need to release that person too. um, because you don't want in your community, in your group of people who are around you, people who are wanting you to stay small, people who are wanting you to stay broken, bitter, and in a season of hurt. You want to be surrounded people that want to see you win, people that love to see you walk into a room with a smile on your face, lit up with your shoulders high, not burning down. People who want to talk about future plans, traveling the world, dominating whatever industry you're in, being the best woman, man, parent, father, whatever you can be, not people who want to live in the past. So definitely take inventory. If there are people in your life who, after you made this choice to attack your mindset and become who always dragging you back there, they can be really good people. They can love you, but sometimes you have to step away from those people while you're going on your own healing journey. So I encourage you to do so. So, to recap what this whole forgiveness, and I call it the F bomb, because for a long time, there were a couple of words that to me were basically cuss words. One of them was forgiveness, and the other one was submission. I'm still not all the way healed from that second one yet. Those are two words that really did not sit well with me, mostly because I am a very strong minded, opinionated woman. And so I equated forgiveness and submission with weakness. Is that people who do those things are weak, docile people. And that's so far from the truth. One of the most powerful things that you can do and that I've done in my life is forgive people and release them. Just release them. Say, you know what? You hurt me, but I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to move past this pain and hurt, and I am going to live my best life to the fullest, regardless of what happened. And to me, that is the best. That is the best revenge. If someone is actually maliciously wanting to hurt you, when they see that it didn't work, that you out here smiling, having your best life, got your new bag, got you, traveling, doing the things, that is the best way. And it opens up your mind, body, and spirit for so much more. I 100% believe in you attract what you are putting off. A lot of people say you attract what you are, but some people, what they really are, they don't allow people to see. So whatever you're putting out and presenting in this world, I think that's what you attract. And so if what you're putting out and presenting this world is a pissed off, bitter person, then you're going to attract a pissed off, bitter person. These AirPods will not stay in my ear. I think I got little ear holes. I know that was random. So yeah, y'all, if you take nothing else from this whole Mindset May Friday meetups, what I want you to take for this is that forgive people, let that go. Just let it go. Because when you begin to let it go and release it, you open up so much in your mind and your body for all of the good, all the positive. But if all you got going around is the negative mind cycle, you don't have room for good. You don't have room for good. So when you see somebody, when you see an opportunity or relationship, you don't think about how great it can be for you. Your mind immediately goes into that negative cycle and you start applying those other people, those wounds to that situation so that you can't even benefit from a good thing. And that's not what we want, boo. Like, we have been through so much in the last couple of years with all the COVID and quarantine and everything that now is the time for us to go out and live our best life. So I am so excited to do these. We have one more May Mindsets next Friday, and that one will be about the art of receiving. As women and men and people who are like so independent and who have been disappointed in other people because people don't show up for us, um, it's difficult sometimes for us just to receive help, receive compliments, receive encouragement, and just receive in all the different areas of our lives. So that is what we'll be talking about next Friday. If you are a woman who has been divorced or separated or thinking about doing that, hit me up in the DMs. I will be offering a retreat in June. It's just for women, but a retreat in June. And what we'll be doing is digging deeper into some of these mindset issues. We'll be doing it together. So instead of you having to go through this process on your own, having to depend on people who may not be the best in your circle, who might be those people who keep dragging you back to the old you to try to keep you small. At the retreat, you'll be surrounded by people who want to be better, who want to move forward. You'll have the support that you need to be able to make that mindset shift and that lifestyle change so that you can be the most authentic, awesome version of yourself. I am so happy. I don't want to get off, but I have to because y'all got to go back to work and I got to go back to work. But thank you guys for showing up, and I will talk to you guys next Friday.